Thank you so much. Many of you know that for several years now, I've talked about the challenge of wage stagnation in our state and throughout this country. And personally, I know I have children and family members, brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews who are equally challenged by the fact that in this nation and in our state, wages have not kept up with inflation and the cost of living. The people of our state and our nation need a living wage, which I believe is one of the most fundamental equity issues facing workers in our city and across this nation. I will never forget that in 2015, I had a chance to join a small group of mayors in advising President Barack Obama about his State of the Union address that was coming forward. And we shared with him that we believe that the most pressing issue in this country at that time and continues today was wage stagnation. And that we encouraged him to place it as a priority for this nation and that he could share that theory and those passions in his State of Union address. I also will never forget a private conversation I had with then Vice President Joe Biden, who shared with me one-on-one that he felt that the greatest threat to the sovereignty of this great nation was the 4 decades of wage stagnation that was occurring, and that he felt that we as a city, governors and mayors, needed to work hard to address the issue. And I gave him my word that day, 4 or 5 years ago, that this was one of the issues that you will hear me continue to talk about every opportunity that I received. And that's why a few months ago I instructed a team of city leaders to explore the possibility of raising the minimum wage for city and county employees to $15 an hour. It followed some conversations with city employees and some residents in Denver with SEIU and Unite Here, and those employees who were pushing for fair wages at Denver International Airport. I heard their stories, I heard their struggles, I empathized with their pain, and I understood that we need to move beyond just talking about wage stagnation, and we need to look deeper at the city of Denver and what the power of a mayor we could do outside of what was going on at the state capitol. After many weeks, late nights, and long hours of negotiating and number crunching, trying to deal with this very difficult issue on a local level, I am proud to share with you today that our proposal to make that higher minimum wage a reality is prepared to go to City Council. Over to this. Though state law does not allow the city of Denver government to unilaterally increase minimum wage throughout our city, we do have the authority to require in our facilities a certain minimum wage. Over the next 2 years, Denver will implement a $15 per hour minimum wage for city employees, contractors, and subcontractors, expanding opportunity and helping those residents and employees remain inclusive and helping our city remain affordable for everyone. The sad reality is that 1/3 of our neighbors in the metro area earn less than $15 an hour. By taking this action, thousands of them will see an immediate benefit. We also expect to see debate on minimum wage at the state capitol this session. And let us encourage our state legislators and know that if you do indeed change the state law to allow the people of Denver to change its minimum wage across the city, we stand ready to accept that opportunity. And let me say this, because I know that what you should know that the conversation about this increase in our facilities and with our city employees took us to a lot of conversations with contractors and partners and stakeholders. I'll just tell you that in conversation with one of our major employers who works across this country and has operations across this country, he shared with me that in markets all over this country, they are seeing this same pressure, the same encouragement to boost wages for employees. And so they were not surprised to see Denver move forward. Private employers like Amazon and our very own Illegal Pete's restaurant chain have already moved into this direction. I want to thank those employers because they didn't have to be forced. They did it because they care about their employees and they recognize the environment, the economic environment in which we're living in. This day was a long time in the making. And once again, I want to thank everyone for working hard to make this reality possible. And I look forward to working with City Council on this adoption and its implementation. Let me be very specific. I want to thank the City Council leadership, President Jolin Clark, Stacey Gilmore, and others, and not the least of which, again, Robin Kanish, for standing in the gap and making sure and working with my administration and making sure that the voices of the most vulnerable and the most challenged in this economy are heard. Thank you for playing that critical role, Councilwoman, once again. We're going to hear from Unite Here, but I want to thank Unite Here and SEIU 105 for their leadership and for bringing the employees to my office so that we can have a good, thoughtful, and candid conversation. I also want to thank my team, led by our Director of Finance, Brendan Hanlon, Legislative Director, Sky Stewart, Deputy Mayor and Executive Director of General Services, Murphy Robinson, and his entire team. We could not have done it without them. And of course, our City Attorney, Kristen Bronson, and her team, Denver National Airport, and Dan Reamer and the entire legal team at the airport. This has been hard work. I also want to thank Mr. Romine, Jeff Romine, our Chief City Economist, for helping us understand this. As I bring up the speakers from SEIU and from Unite Here, I want to share with you that there have been very few administrative issues that were more tangled and more complex than this one. Every step we took, we were disentangling some form that would stand in the way of our ability to implement this. This has been months in the working. And so it wasn't as easy as just saying 15 across the board in our facilities. And so I want to thank the entire team for taking the time and staying focused and staying committed to the vision of providing relief and opportunity to our employees. So with that, let me bring up Archie from Unite Here and Mengistu from the SEIU 105. Welcome, our friends.
Hello, everybody, and hello, Denver. And let me go by and introduce myself. My name is Hamilton Achelis, and I go by Archie. Today, I'm very proud of 19 years, and my wife and I has worked at Denver International Airport as a Haitian immigrant. It's an honor to work at Colorado Port afterward. I work in the warehouse for United Airlines. Carrier operation, we make sure that the food that go on hundreds of flights every day is stored safely and efficiently. I know that people like me behind the scene who make our airport run smoothly. I give much of my life to this airport, and I can tell that DIA is more successful than ever. I also know my family and I and all my airport workers who make DIA run deserve more. After 19 years working for the airline, neither I, my wife, I ever make 15 an hour. After 19 years, I still struggle to pay my bill and pay my rent on time. I had to tell my kids they can go to the movie so that I can afford to buy groceries. As a 15 minimum wage will change my life, I don't have to choose between buy grocery or pay the rent. Whether we work in the kitchen, clean the hotel, serve at the restaurant, assist travelers to the airport, or catering the flight, we are dedicated to the successful airport. Every job at DIA should be a good job. For me, 15 minimum wage means the people of Denver are proud of those who work at the airport and other public facilities. I'm so excited to be here today with Mayor Hancock, a Denver City Council member. By raising our wage, Mayor Hancock, a Denver City Council, will lift up thousands of families in our community. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for all City Council. God bless you.
Thank you, Archie.
Hello, my name is Mengistu.
Is that you, Jerry?
Hello, my name is Mengistu. I'm passenger service agent at Denver Airport. I help the most vulnerable passenger at the airport get to their destination. We work very hard to provide the best service possible to passengers and take pride in our work because we know how it is important. We are always focused on customer service. Sadly, we are only paid minimum wage. The current minimum wage makes it impossible to afford the high rent in Denver. This is why my co-workers work 2 to 3 jobs to support themselves and their families. One full-time job should be enough to live in this city. It is simple not. I have even heard of airport workers having to sleep on benches at the airport between double shifts. I speak for my co-workers who all want to be self-reliant with their finance. We need this increase right away. The current situation is not my American dream. Me and my coworkers are excited to hear that we are close to minimum wage increase for airport workers. $15 an hour will affect thousands of workers at the airport and help us to be able to survive a little better. Airport jobs should be good jobs, and this is a positive step. It doesn't matter where we are from. Working people in Denver want the same thing, to provide for our families and live a good life. Winning $15 per hour is just the beginning. We are fighting for airport jobs to be union jobs like they used to be, so we can provide for our families, get the training we need to keep the public safe, and provide the best service possible. We thank Mayor for his support of raising the wage and hope the City Council can pass the measure as soon as possible. Thank you all.
All right. I want to thank Mengistu and Unite Here and SEIU 105 and Archie and Unite Here for your leadership and again for your passion and for sharing your stories with me in that great conversation. I'm proud now to bring to the podium to close as our speaker today, no greater champion for all people in Denver, in particular our workers. She has been a partner on housing. She's been a partner on workers' rights and worker wages. We talked many months ago and agreed that we would partner on making sure we address this issue. And so with that, please welcome, and I know you all will enthusiastically welcome, your greatest advocate, the Honorable Councilwoman Robin Kanish.
Well, good morning, everyone. You know what we're here for today? We're here for some love. We're here to show some love to these workers who take care of Denver's people, who take care of our places, and they take care of our visitors. We're here today for you, to raise your wages because of our love and appreciation for the work that you do. We're here to put our money where our love is. For thousands of contract workers at the airport who, like some of these folks, assist elders and disabled folks. Maybe they lug our overpacked luggage. Maybe they sling our beet burgers or our local brews. Maybe they clean the aircrafts. And we're here for the love of the airport itself. We couldn't be the 5th busiest airport in this country. We couldn't be the customer-rated #1 airport in this country if it wasn't for the work that was done by all of these folks. And if our work is successful here, as it has been in more than 15 other airports across the country, then these policies will help to reduce turnover and help to increase the success and safety of our airport, which isn't just about the city of Denver, but our airport is an engine for our region, it's an engine for our state. And when we uplift these workers, we uplift our entire economy in this community. That's right. We're here for the love as well of our city employees, many of whom take care of our children like my own. They teach them swimming in our recreation centers. They take care of our parks. And also our downtown contract workers who take care of all of our arts and cultural facilities that the Denver City owns. So for the love of all of these folks, we're here. I also want to share some love with my colleagues. We have a number of them here today. Who represents the airport, Councilwoman Stacey Gilmore, Councilman Albus Brooks, Council President Jolyn Clark, and Councilman Paul Lopez. Make no mistake that early support for wages from many of our council members helped to make this whole conversation possible. I want to fill in just a little bit more of the story of what brought us here today. We as a city have been battling a housing crisis, and we've been throwing everything we can at it. We took city funding from $0 in 2011 when many of us got elected to over $30 million this year in 2019. But there are two components to making a city livable. I'm going to give you a very advanced visual representation. There is the cost of living, and then there is what you earn. I call this the crocodile. If you want to bring those two together, we've been working hard on this cost of living piece. We've been doing dozens of policies. But if we don't raise those wages, we can't close the gap, and that's why we're here today. So as union membership has declined and there's been attacks on the right to organize and challenges, we've seen wages stagnate, as the mayor really eloquently pointed out, which makes public policy more important than it was in the past. And make no mistake, we have many union members here today, but thousands of the workers at the airport and our city employees may not have a union, and this policy is for all workers who will do business with the city. Now, many of these folks, we have protections in our city for construction workers. We've had a prevailing wage ordinance since the 50s, right, of 1950s, that is. We now have, though, more service workers than ever. And what we know is for every tech job we create, whether it's in the private sector or the city, every tech job comes with 3 service jobs. So these policies have become more important both in Denver and nationally because of the growth in service workers. And as you can see, many of the workers in this industry, they are immigrants, they are refugees, they are folks of color, they are women, they are parents. Make no mistake, wage policy is racial justice in action. And that is what we are doing today. So before the conversation conversation the mayor talked about, I was in the back of a room that he was in, and he was talking about the limits of what we can do on housing policy, and he was so earnestly discussing the wage issue. I saw him leaning in, and there was no mistake at all. When he gave me that call just 2 weeks later to say, let's bring together separate conversations we were having on ordinances and ballot measures, I was not surprised, because there was a spark in him that made it clear he was ready and willing to lead on this, and I want to thank you for bringing us all together.
Absolutely.
So this team set out with a goal, and the goal was very simple: cover as many workers as possible, as quickly as possible. I want to commend the unions, who I'd also worked with for many years prior to this policy. They came as strong advocates for workers who didn't always feel heard, either in the city, in the airport, but they were thoughtful, and they stayed at the table, and they listened and learned about unique challenges that we had in making up how to do this policy. Everybody had to focus on hard questions. And in the end, unions are nothing more than a collection of workers who've agreed to a common vision. And I think what these workers have demonstrated today is if you are organized and you are united, then you can achieve. You can build a bridge. You can build a bridge to victory that improves the lives of working people. And so I want to commend you, too, for your leadership and for being willing to be on a bridge that collaborated to get here today.
Thank you.
So I want to just say one word to the businesses in our community, to the airlines and the concessionaires, to the janitorial service providers, to those who help make our city run. You too are part of the success of the airport. Your businesses too are part of what makes us successful. We recognize that this bill might be a stretch and a transition for you. And I call upon you today to rise to the occasion. We firmly believe that you will see less turnover, you will see higher productivity, you will see workers more attached to your business and engaged with you. And in the long run, we want to uplift your businesses along with these workers and along with our city. So we are so glad that you are coming along as our partners, and we invite you to continue to be there as you were in the process of writing this ordinance. With this policy introduction today, our city has an opportunity to put our love and our appreciation into action. We have an opportunity to make our values for greater income equality a permanent practice of business in the city. We will join 15 other airports and dozens of other cities who do business this way. We are in good competitive company. No one be worried. We are not going to have any problem attracting businesses to do these jobs, because almost every city in the country is headed in this direction. We can lead the rest of Denver, as the mayor so eloquently described, by example. I am so proud of our city, and I cannot wait to vote on this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I was remiss in not acknowledging Karen DeParco, our Executive Director of Denver, or for our Human Resources Department, who really served, she and her team served to advise us on our policies and who's impacted and who won't be impacted and all the good stuff. So thank you very much. So why don't we go ahead and open up for a question and answer, and we'll try to get a few in before we call it the day and get to work on this ordinance. If you have all your questions answered, we're in good shape, right?
Well, Mayor,
Of course.
you hinted that the legislature may give you power to do this for private sector employees. Would you move to $15 an hour for private sector if they gave you the power tomorrow and signed off?
We're ready to accept that opportunity and here at the City of Denver. And obviously, just like we did with this one, there will be a great deal of conversation with our stakeholders and understanding what that means in terms of the whole economy and all that good stuff. But it is about what's in the best interest of the people who call this city home and who work in our city. So absolutely. We expect that there will be an increase in our costs as a city in doing business, and we're ready to, as contracts come open, to begin to raise our contribution to make this possible. We know it's going to cost us to take care of our own employees who fall beneath this threshold, and so that was part of the overall analysis that yes, there will be a cost to the general fund to do this, and we know it ultimately will be a cost to contractors, and we recognize that will be part of our negotiations going forward with them. Any others? Fantastic. Thank you all for being here, and congratulations, everyone.